Comparing decimals. When comparing decimals, it is sometimes difficult to determine which is greater. To make comparing easier, make sure the decimals have the same number of places. If not, change them by putting zeros behind the number. For example, which is greater, 0.6 or 0.56? Remember, adding zeros to a number after a decimal point does not change the value of the decimal. So if I want both of these to have the same number of places, I would add 1 0 to the end of 0.6. Now it's easier to see that 60 is greater than 56. So 0.6 or 0.60 is the larger of these two decimals. If we'd like to arrange this next list in order from least to greatest, we first need to make sure that each of these have the same number of decimal places. Once again, I'm going to place zeros so that they are all 3 places long. Looking now, I have 99, 990, 909, and 900. The smallest decimal there then would be 0.099 because 99 is the smallest of those 4 numbers. After that, we have to look and we have 900 because 900 is less than 909 and 990. So 0.9 would be our second. Comparing our last two, and sometimes it's good to check off what you've used so as not to confuse yourself. But we have 2 more to check. We have 990 and 909. 909 is smaller, and since we're going from smallest to largest, that comes next, leaving me with 0.99 as my final decimal. So remember, placing zeros at the end of a decimal does not change its value. Make them the same amount of decimal places and compare your numbers.
If you are interested in working on your car or in racing them, it's important for you to know decimals and their values. This is some information I obtained on the internet, and it's this chart. Notice technical data for the Ford 1.6-liter engine. And this is the race engine specs. Main bearing clearance, 0.002 thousandths of an inch. That's 2 thousandths. Connecting rod bearing clearance, 0.0015 or 15 ten-thousandths to 0.002 2 thousandths of an inch. Camshaft bearing clearance, that's 0.002 2 thousandths to 0.0023 ten-thousandths. But notice here, top ring end gap, and that's 0.015. That's 15 thousandths. And notice there's just a decimal point and a 0 and a 1/5. And the connecting rod bearing clearance is 0.0015. This is 10 times greater the clearance here than on the connecting rod bearing clearance. So it's important to understand decimals and what the value of each one is when we look on the chart like this, so you can understand what these values mean.
Please pause the video now and complete the problems in your workbook. When finished, press play, and we'll continue with the next lesson.